Sancho to score. No mistakes this time.
That is a rocket.
Royce and another fantastic goal by Marco Royce. Haaland's volley is beautiful beyond compare.
Jetzt kommt das Wunder von Dortmund. Foulspiel von hinten an Götze.
Needs to lay it off. We're going to shot away. Oh, what a goal!
Welcome back to Dortmund Dispatch. Today we have two matches to discuss. So we're going to go through the Juventus match really quickly, and then we're going to talk a lot about Dortmund's 1-0 win over Wolfsburg. But Pedro, first off, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you started the episode before I was sitting on my chair, but that's okay, I think. I'm good. I'm good. Just excited to talk about Dortmund. I have a lot of comments on what I've seen in the past week. A lot of goods, some criticism that we're going to discuss and dig more deep into it. But yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Gotta get started early, honestly, like before you even could sit down, because I have to be in the office bright and early tomorrow morning, every day for the rest of eternity. So that's just fantastic. And then Dortmund, also fantastic if you ignore the extra time against Juventus, where we're literally making like what can only be described as like elementary mistakes in extra time. But even before that, like, I'll talk more later in the show, but like just like really, really simple decisions going wrong, and like I will blame it on the player later during that of the week, but like it's almost not the player's fault because they don't know how to do the role they're being asked. But I don't know, Pedro. It was a hard watch at the end there.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't watched the Juve match. I was working at the time, so I didn't watch the whole thing. Even though I watched the highlights, I saw good things. I think Dortmund has found great value in Karina Adeyemi. I think he had a great match, and his goal and assist where he proved that. We have some interesting roles in participation in Felix Nemecha with his goal as well. Young Koto, despite some ups and downs, has his first goal in black and yellow, and it's in a Champions League match against Juventus in the Allianz Stadium. Yeah, I mean, it's great to see. Of course, there's some contribution from Di Gregorio. I thought that shot was savable, but I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the goal. But yeah, that's exactly what you said. I think Dortmund really had some really rookie mistakes, especially I think on the Juve's third goal with Ben Sebaini. And that's the thing I want to talk about, because all the goals, especially I was reviewing the matches that we lost points against St. Pauli in the Bundesliga and the Juve won in the Champions League, and some goals really were on us because we had the ball in our possession in good positions, we had in control, and we just lost it just in poor positions and just gave the transitions to our opponents, even though we were 2 goals ahead, or at least 1 goal ahead in both scenarios. So that's some kind of things that can happen. And honestly, as well as I said in São Paulo, the feeling for the match was of a defeat, even though it ended on a draw. I had the same feeling with Juve, even though I didn't watch the match, because I'm sorry, you scored in the 85th minute 4-2. You cannot concede 2 goals in that fashion, and especially ones in like quick transitions. The first one, Ben Sebaini could just have shot to the sky with 2 minutes to go, and then gave the ball in a poor positions, and then we just conceded a goal. And after that, yeah, I think Dortmund already lost a little bit of confidence. And the last goal was also in a transition, like, and the backline was all confused,
And
trying to stop them.
I gotta talk. I'm not gonna talk about Valdemar Anton in the other week, and I need to let him have it for that last goal. So Valdemar Anton is on a yellow card, right? So he cannot concede the professional foul. Excuse me, yes you can. We're 5 minutes into 10 minutes of extra time. Like, what is more valuable? Like, you running off and wasting 2 of the 4 remaining minutes of extra time and preventing this break, or you letting this guy dribble 60 yards unopposed at your back line in a 4v2. like I don't understand. Like he has to take him out. Like he has to either go in and make sure he gets the ball, and if he doesn't get the ball, he has to get the man. And he does neither. He lets the guy um run like entirely from 20 yards in his own half. Plays the ball out wide for Vlahovic. But like the guy carries the ball 70 yards without being opposed. Like I understand he's on the yellow card, but like he showed Anton the ball. Like Anton could have potentially like made a bit of a reckless challenge that could have gotten him very easily sent off. But like that's the risk you have to take there, in my opinion. Or the other option, you simply don't chase Vlahovic and like stay back, knowing you can't get caught out that way. Like with 45 minutes left, with like 15 minutes left in the first half, and you like chase up to try and make that challenge, even if you're on a yellow card, like that might make sense. But we're later in the game. The risk is not worth the reward. It's not like we need to go and like make a challenge up the pitch to try and score a fifth goal. Like we need to see out the last couple minutes of the match. And that was just a very, very elementary mistake from Anton. And at that stage of the match, once you make the mistake and you go 20 yards into their own half, the rest of the entire back line is so much deeper than you that you just look like you look lost. At that point, you have to like take ownership of your mistake and not make another one. And he clearly understands he's on a yellow card, but at that stage of the match, taking that second yellow is so much like it hurts the team so much less than giving Juventus such an easy man up transition situation with the back line out of whack. And then also, like, where is the goal scored from? It's scored from the position that Anton has. Like, Anton's in the middle of the back three. Ryerson's 2v1 at the back post. Does he track the run as best he can? Not necessarily, but also, like, the guy has so much space to attack, you can't really criticize Ryerson for not tracking the man because he's able to run into the center of the pitch, which was Anton's position in the middle of the back three. But it wasn't his position when he ran 30 yards up the pitch chasing Vlahovic. And he didn't even really see the ball until Vlahovic gave it up, and by that point it was too late. So that second goal, or the fourth goal, but the second of the two in extra time, is very much an elementary mistake in my opinion from Anton. I don't get
Yeah.
it, man.
No. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair criticism. And I really didn't understand in the beginning, especially not watching the match. I got so many different opinions on Twitter. So when I go on X and just read all of those, I said some people saying like, "Oh, Ryerson made mistakes in two of the goals," and I was like, "Oh, Ryerson has been so good for us, especially in either as a right wing back or like a right side center back in that position." And when I watched the whole match highlights, I saw. I mean, that's not on Ryerson. I mean, he could have tracked the run a little better, but at the same time, he was like completely like outnumbered. Like he couldn't do anything. And again, two rookie mistakes with first Bensebaini not kicking the ball away and just giving like the possession for free for Juventus in not a really great spot. Even though Bensebaini has been good from what I've seen, from what I heard, sorry, against Juve, and he also was really good against Wolfsburg, which we'll talk later. But yeah, Anton, I think it's more like reason to criticize him than Bensebaini on its own, because he overall had good performances in this season, and Ryerson as well. I think he also did really good against Wolfsburg, and Anton could be on a hot seat. I think maybe Ivan Salminho had a great start in his first match. I don't know. We'll see. With Nicolas back is not leaving the back line. Bensebaini also has been good. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, it's just sickening seeing Dortmund just give these opportunities away, like not having the mentality and the right state of mind to keep themselves in the match and just to get the win. Just get the win. It's not that hard. You're two goals ahead. Like it's like the story of our lives all over again.
Yeah, 93 minutes from Ben Sebaini were basically flawless. And then you see every single player on Dortmund, when he goes to play the pass to where Brandt had just been, every single other player on Borussia Dortmund is preparing to go and chase a second ball. They're all looking up the pitch, just expecting him to clear it, getting ready to get back in their press and defend. And instead, he plays it to Brandt, who, like, could he be paying more attention? I honestly don't care that he wasn't, because that's entirely on Ben Sabahini. Like,
Yeah.
there's just no reason to try and play it out of the back there.
Yeah,
But
just kick it away. It's
but he
so
does.
easy.
It's similar situation to the Anton mistake, where I'm not gonna get mad at Ben Sebaini for playing it out in the 33rd minute. I'd be like, Brant, you gotta pay a little bit of attention there. But you're 2 goals up with 6 minutes of extra time, whatever it was. That ball has to be at least to the halfway line at that point, or just out of play in general. Like,
Yeah, it's just basic like park the bus mentality. Like for me, it's all over Brazil and Croatia World Cup 2022 all over again. Just I still can remember Fred going to press Croatia, and we are 1-0 up, just needing to sit back and hold the result, and then we go press, and then Croatia scores in the transition. Like, why? You don't need to do that. Like, with only a few minutes to the final whistle. Like, it's the same mentality for Dortmund. But yeah, I mean, we had good things in both matches, but yeah, those mistakes still are kind of killing us, and that's still why I'm still kind of like holding my expectations and my excitement with this team, because I mean, we have been undefeated in the season so far, but yeah, like the way we lost points in the past few matches, not really exciting, and hopefully we can fix that, like going ahead in the season.
yeah, well, we just talked about an 8 goal performance. Now we can talk about the dullest game Borussia Dortmund has played this season. Granted, it's a win, and I'll always take a dull win, because
Mhm.
3 points are worth 3 points. But this match was pretty dull. Do you have any thoughts? Anything you noticed?
I mean, tactically, I think was pretty much similar to the setup we have been playing, especially also against what was the last match in the Bundesliga? I kind of forgot now. But yeah, we can tell me later. But
Union.
Union, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's kind of like a similar setup, and also against Juve was pretty similar. The starting 11, I think the only
Oh,
exception was Poto.
Heidenheim. Oh my
Heidenheim.
god.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Heidenheim. Yeah, that's true. I think that was before the. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Heidenheim.
sorry.
Yeah,
In my brain, Heidenheim's already in the second tier.
yeah, but I mean, tactically, it didn't change much, except in this match. I think we had more control, and I honestly thought I think we could have done like some better work in possession. Of course, I think this Dortmund is like on paper and according with Kovác's principles, a transitional team, which is okay. I don't really mind. But at the same time, when you're in this kind of games where you're gonna have most of the possessions, I think we could have done a little bit better, even though it has some good combinations here and there and some interesting plays, which I thought were nice. But at the same time, I would like to see that job done more consistently throughout the season. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think was a good performance, and I think overall Dortmund deserved the win. But yeah, when you keep your opponent too long into the match, not scoring a second goal and not to stretch your advantage, at some point you might suffer a little bit. And we almost did with that, almost like just by an inch non-goal by Wolfsburg, even though I thought Amora on the beginning of the play was a little bit offside, but I guess we'll never know because the ball never got in. But yeah, well, it was a solid performance, but I really would like to see a better work on the ball, because even though we had, let me see, 12 shots overall and 4 on target, only one big chance created. So I think
But
overall, when you
like
have
12 shots for Borussia Dortmund in the league is not. It's not good enough. That's not like,
yeah, yeah, that's
if
true.
Borussia Dortmund averages 12 shots over the campaign, they're in the top 4 fight. They're definitely not in a title fight. So I think
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
some criticism there, and I think, well, a lot of the time we talk about this match, it'll be about the creativity, because no issues getting the ball into the final third. We'll talk more about that with some nice quotes from Nico Schlotterbeck in a bit. But yeah,
absolutely.
the issue was they got in the final third, and like 4 key
Yeah.
passes apparently from Julian Ryerson. Like, I remember the one big chance he created, but I don't know where the other 3 key passes came from.
I think probably one was the cross to Bayer to miss that goal as well.
Yeah, that
But
was the
yeah,
big that was the big one. I don't
mhm.
know the other 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to track. I mean, but at the same time, what you said, it's so true because we had 35 touches inside Wolfsburg box, but only one big chance created, only 4 shots on target. I think we could do better with the ball. And overall, I think we're crossing way too much, 31 crosses overall, but only 6 on target. So that's really low, like accuracy on crosses. And when you're depending too much on crosses, means your ways to create chances and create better XG chances overall are not good enough. And I think we really could have done better in possession, even though like we had 1.1 xg, we deserved the win overall. We didn't allow too much to Wolfsburg, despite those last few minutes with the crosses and the corners, and which really like kept like on the edge of my seat, just hoping we didn't consider the last minute again. But yeah, I think overall was a solid performance. But I really would like to see like Kovac to work this team in situations where we need to have the possession. And I think he took a little bit too long again to make some substitutions and to make the midfield a little bit more creative in that sense. Maybe put Julian Brandt a little bit earlier. I thought Bayer had some good movements, but overall his decision making and finishing wasn't the sharpest in this match. So I think he could have done a few changes before we were like too late into the match and almost conceding a draw.
Yeah, like the miss for Maxi Bayer, like it is what it is. Like, it's a pretty big chance at 0.41 xg. He also had a 0.21 xg chance he missed off a take on. So like he had a very solid match in terms of accruing chances. But yeah, the finishing wasn't there on the day, but I'm not going to fault Maxi Bayer from that. And I did look up the rest of the key passes from Julian Ryerson, and you have the goal. It's a 0.01 xg chance, but you know, shooters shoot, and Karim Adeyemi is
that's 90% of Karim. Sorry,
yeah,
Ryerson.
like
Yeah.
Karim Adeyemi's in very good form. The other 2, you have a 0.02 chance from Maxi Bayer on his head for the 3rd key pass. Obviously, the big chance in between there. And then the last one was off a dead ball. Julian Ryerson off a corner found Felix Mecha for like an average chance at 0.11 xg, which was saved. But yeah, like from Julian Ryerson, it's you can talk about 3 key passes, which is fine, but like he was like the main creative option in this match, and like he creates a big chance, which is good, but the Dortmund XG is so low comparatively in this match. It's not good enough for where it needs to be over the course of a full Bundesliga season for us to mount the title charge, because the efficiency of the Julian Ryerson crossing is just not there. It's like there's certain times where he has a ton of time, a ton of space in the box, and he's able to go out and play the right ball. Like, he's capable of that. But when he has to choose to play like a rapid ball just past the last man, or like a hard driven low cross as he's running in behind, like once he has to make a decision there and he doesn't have an obvious space to put the ball, the crossing is just very, very poor from him. It's not his best trait. It's supposed to be Jan Koto's best trait, and Jan Koto has a lot of deficiencies that Julian Ryerson doesn't have, but the deficiencies Julian Ryerson had were very apparent at times in this match. Maybe we'd be talking about it differently if like Karim Adeyemi doesn't score that shot, but Maxi Bayer scores the bigger chance. But that's not the way it worked out, and I think even then, like, it's a bit of a like fool's gold, false premise, whatever you want to call it, where Julian Ryerson, yeah, he creates the big chance, but overall, you need to see creativity in the side from somewhere else. And like, he is my favorite player aside from like Nico Schlotterbeck on the team, but Karim Adeyemi took 5 shots in this game for 0.2 xg. And he scored, and that's good. Scoring is good. you're allowed to do that when you score, but the player I usually criticize for putting up that type of XG per shot is Marcel Sabitzer. And I will not be saying a bad word about Marcel Sabitzer on this episode, but what I will say is when Kareem Adeyemi is taking 5 shots from that distance, like he gets away with it because he scores, but you have to understand if you're Kareem Adeyemi that you're the best creator that we started in this game, and you have to be able to take that mantle, and instead of like continuously shooting from distance and seeing your heat checks go off target from like volleys, whatever it may be, you kind of have to do a little bit more to drive the team forward, attempt an extra take on, and try and play that cross, that final ball, because you are capable of doing it. And a lot of the other guys we had on the pitch in this game are just not in the way that he is. So I would like to see, like, the goal is good, but we don't need to see, like, 5 shots from distance and a ton of crazy stuff when he is so good creatively. Like, he could have created bigger chances instead of shooting, in my opinion. And I think, like, that's part of it. Part of it is also, like, maybe if Julian Brandt gets a few more minutes, he's able to create something. But we also, like, maybe because we're up 1-0 and the substitutions are Job, Oschan, and Chukwuemeka, none of those players are creative, like, at all. Because we've only seen Chukwuemeka off the bench this year, and the creativity isn't there. And if it's not there off the bench, that says something negatively about your ability to be creative. And hopefully we start to see more signs of it soon, but it's a lot of 25-minute appearances without it.
Yeah, true. Just going back on what we were saying about Ryerson and lack of highly chances creating XG with Dortmund, just depending on guys like Adeyemi finding those beautiful shots, and he did the same thing against Juventus. He on his first goal. But I think I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate here, because at the same time, I think Ryerson also is not the best at crossing Borussia Dortmund. I really think that combining his like hardworking and defensive skills and high pace with Young Koto's talent with passing and crossing, I think we would have the perfect player. But instead we have two opposites, which is okay. We can like use those guys in different instances. But at the same time, when you have one of the pitch, you're missing one trade, and when you have the other, you're missing the other. So yeah, I think that right wing side, I think it's going to be like a really interesting discussion throughout the season. But at the same time, with the formation that we are playing and the setup itself, I saw so many times in this match Ryerson or even Svensson a little bit isolated on the flanks, and finding those players, the other players, going too deep into the box that the guys didn't have any space to combine. I even remember one instance in the match where Ben Sebaini needed to do that role and find some good combinations within his in the midfield. But at the same time, he shouldn't be the primary guy who is to create those kind of chances. Those are the jobs of the midfielders and on the wingers, who can get closer to the wing backs, make the triangles, and find good combinations so we can create better chances. But that didn't happen much. I thought they were a little bit isolated, so that's why I think also we were too dependent on crosses in this match. And I just think the setup could be a little bit better with better movements and better like overloads in the right areas. And I think that's a little bit on Kovac. I think he needs to work those kind of like formations and how we play in possession, which is our main criticism against Wolfsburg in this episode. But yeah, I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, because at the same time, like, I know Ryerson did not did that well in crossing ability and just providing that many good crosses. I thought he was a little bit left out by our setup, our tactical setup. But yeah, hopefully that can get better in the next few matches.
Yeah, I think like you could almost say that it's a little too easy to have the ball be funneled out to Ryerson, because you might prefer like Svensson, who can be a little bit more dynamic in terms of his ability to come inside, as well as play down the wing as a traditional wing back, but he's going to end up being a lot more isolated, like you're talking about, because Maxi Bayer is the guy starting at left wing, and he is making the same run, and he's finding some danger from it, but it's a run that's very much diagonal across the middle of the field. He's also coming inside as Garassi drops off, so he can make that like aerial duel and be that option for an outlet because he's matched up with a fullback and had a bit of an advantage in the air at times, and we saw that get attempted a few times. So like there's a balance there, but you need to see probably more out of Garassi in a way, making that two-man game work in the middle of the park where he's able to play the right pass in transition, whether it's to Garassi and Adeyemi, and hopefully like that threat, or if he's able to like run off Maxi Bayer, even though it's not necessarily his game to run behind a ton, like he did do a bit of it at Stuttgart. And then if he's able to do that, then you push the center backs a few yards back, and the midfielders have to pinch in for the space that's being created that like a typical number 10 would come into. And then all of a sudden your wing backs are able to have a little bit more space to sit a little bit higher up the pitch. So they're like, you have to find a different way to get it. Because of the way like Maxi Bayer is, you're not going to get it on the left, and they're trying to force it out to the right to make Ryerson cross. Because if you're looking at like the main creative options, it's Karim Adeyemi, Daniel Svensson, and Julian Ryerson. And of those three players, like if you're the other team, who scares you the least with the ball? Without the ball, it's like the opposite, but with the ball.
No, but that makes so much sense, and I really think that kind of Bayer limits Dortmund in games like that, especially in possession, because he's the kind of guy who is good in like combinations in the middle, just doing some nice work, just finding spaces in transitions and make the right movements. But like when you're playing against teams that are sitting way too low into their own box, and you like he doesn't offer much dribbling ability like Karina Demi, who can play in both feet, like going to the byline and find some nice crosses. At the same time, he can go on the inside and shoot and find some really nice passing combinations on the half spaces. Max Baer doesn't offer that much in that regard, especially against opponents like Wolfsburg in this particular match. So I think in this kind of game, I think I would even prefer Julian Brandt, like a more creative 10 who can like find those kind of passes and find be that have the kind of role to find like create those triangles and find those good combinations to make us create more higher XG chances. And as much as I like Maxi Bayer, and please Brian, don't hate us, like we love Maxi, but maybe he's not the best option in matches like that.
I'm on a different like wavelength from you. Like I'm saying, like it's creating a tactical dilemma, but there are also tactical benefits in this match. Like, another option is dropping Garassi, who didn't really participate in the attack in this game a ton.
But Garassi is not the best combining with his teammates if we think about it.
But
So
like Maxi Byers was looking pretty good at getting on the end of crosses. I'm not saying I like, as much as I said, like in terms of the performance, like if we're gonna criticize anyone in the attack, I'd say Garassi has to do a better job of finding chances and finding a way to involve himself in this type
that's
of
true.
attack. Because I think like Maxi Bayer overall probably like on paper, if you take away like who scored the goal, would have had the most productive game of any of the three guys in the front three, and he played the fewest minutes. I just think that like tactically there are issues with playing him on left wing, but there's also like benefits from doing it. So like you have to find a little bit more of the benefits, because I think you can have them. Like we saw a couple times like Garassi drops off, Maxi Bayer runs in behind. We saw Kobel play a nice long ball out to Maxi Bayer, and he won the header. Like you have to do things like that a little bit more and do a better job of taking advantages of the kind of oh my god, it's like when you have two sides and they're the same. And we don't have that when we play Maxi Bayer because you don't have the two true wide threats. I'm forgetting the vocabulary and I'm thinking of like
Nah,
the
no,
Arthur
but I see
episode
what you
from
mean.
PBS. So I'm sorry, guys.
Nah, that's
um,
one thing I would say just before we go to the star and the week or the post match quotes. I don't know what we're gonna do next, but I really think what we're saying. I think both of us agree overall. I think we have those kind of
mhm,
combinations, and we know what Maxi is good at. And at the same time, I don't think Girassi is that guy for like combination play. I think Maxi is way better in that regard. He can still do that, like he proved to us, but he's not the best guy to do that consistently.
yeah,
But I think what I meant like before, like it's in matches like that where you don't have that much space for Maxi to run in behind, you need those kind of combinations with Girassi. But when Girassi is not playing that well in that regard and you don't have many other options, I think Maxi limits us a little bit in terms of like maintaining possession and finding like the right combinations and ways to create with possession. So in
yeah,
that sense, I think Bayer is much more a guy or a transitional guy, and I think he could. He's still gonna benefit us in so many matches, and I think overall we're gonna play a transitional football this season. But I think in those kind of matches, I think we will need something different, and that was my main criticism with Kovac taking too long to realize that, and maybe taking Bar out, playing a guy, more creative guy like Brunt in a little bit earlier, so we could kill the match before it got too dangerous for us. But yeah, I think Max Bar is great. But I think I think that's basically what we're saying. We just need to find the best combinations and the way to like tactically fit all these players in the right scenarios. And in this particular match, I'm not sure Maxi was the best alternative.
yeah. That's fair. So before we go into our star and dud of the week, we do have a quote from a certain Nico Schlotterbeck who made his long-awaited return. The
Thank
coach
God.
asked. So Schlotterbeck said, "The coach asked me if I was up for it. As a footballer, you don't say no. Funnily enough, I always try to get into the game with long balls. The first two were not good at all. As a 20-year-old Christian Streich, the former SC Freiburg coach, taught me how to play simple balls first and the ones you feel comfortable with. And I tried that, and two or three balls came good, and then it became automatic. I worked hard for 6 months. Of course, it's wonderful how the fans have welcomed me. You know, you've done a lot right. It was an honor. It was the first time in almost 3 years. I'm brutally happy." And how did, like, were you a little surprised at all to see Nico Schlotterbeck in the starting 11? Like, how
I
did you feel
mean,
seeing that?
I felt great. Of course, it's nice to see our best player in the squad again, and even starting after like a long term out, like it was great. Like maybe a little bit risky, like depending on like how he would react, because if he just got in and left injured like after 15 minutes, we would be criticizing Kovac's decision right now. But thankfully everything worked out. I think Nico was like excellent. It's amazing how he like upgrades us in terms of ball progression. Like his skills are just like amazing, and I really thought he was going to play on the left side, but I think he did really well in the middle, especially with Ben Sebaini playing so well this start of the season. So yeah, it's great to have our best player back, and just to have more progression with him and more options to play like different back lines and different profiles of wing backs as well. Yeah, it's just so great to see Nico back. And speaking like in quotes like that, there's no way you hate that guy. The guy is always like up for any challenge, and he's always there for you. So that just makes me love him even more as a player and a crucial part of this team. And hopefully he continues to stay healthy for us until the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's such a great quote. It's actually like pretty insightful in terms of like his upbringing. It's great to give uh like credit to a former coach as well. Like that just shows good character. Um in my opinion, maybe we could say future captain. I don't know. Like and have a different conversation, but for this I'm just going to focus on like the medical stuff. Like there were a lot of people in the DC group that were like very nervous when they saw this. And like part of that is like last year there were a couple of times when Anton and Sula came back from injury and they immediately got injured again. And like, we don't know because we don't look at the medical data. We don't hear the advice the medical teams, the physios were giving to Shaheen. We don't hear it from Kovac. I would love to have club sources. Anyone in the club listening, please hit us up. Leak all the information. We will keep you anonymous. That said, we don't yet have those sources. We don't have the clout for that. And so we don't know the training data that they have from Nico Schlotterbeck. And I would love to sit here in 2 months and be like, look, last year I said I don't know if it's the physios, but I feel like it almost has to be Shaheen. Because it felt like he was fighting for his job and playing players that were clearly not ready, that lasted like probably a total of 40 minutes across the 2 starts he gave Sula and Anton the first week they came back to allegedly being fit. I would love to sit here in a month or 2 and say, look, last year that was clearly Shaheen. This medical team knows what they're doing, but we're not there yet. We'll see how he holds up. But right now, like, he looked like fully fit. Like, the thing for me, I said, once he comes back, I want to see some of these long balls he's hitting, because like that takes a lot of like muscle recovery, and your muscles can atrophy. When you have that type of injury and you're not able to train for a little bit of time, he's clearly been built up well enough to hit some very nice long balls, and it really changed the way this match played because it forced their wide defenders to stay so much wider, to cover out on those fullbacks because he could find them so easily. And like, you're not going to need a number 6. Like, as good as Ben Sebaini has been doing as the main ball progressor, and he still had the most progressive passes in this match, but like the range of the progressive passes from Nico Schlotterbeck are on another level, and that can really change how a team has to defend you. And I'm looking forward to seeing that as he gets back to full fitness and can do even more and can be a little bit more confident carrying the ball forward, because he can do that as well. But Pedro, let's get into our viewers' favorite segment. Who is your star of the week?
Man, for me, I think it's kind of obvious. I think Karim Adeyemi just had a great week. Just like a goal and an assist against Juventus, and then another goal who secured us the 3 points against Wolfsburg. It's just so great to see how much he improved as a player. Like we discussed before, like in criticizing him a little bit on his decision making, but I think he got so much better and so much sharper. And it's great to see doing that with confidence, which we know he has the talent to provide Dortmund like great moments, like those 2 great shots against Juve and respectively against Wolfsburg. So for me, I think it's kind of obvious. I think Karim is it's becoming like absolutely one of our best players. I think he's only behind Nico Schlotterbeck in the pack order for our most important players. And I think he proved a lot. And I think it's just too easy for me to put him as my start.
I might go with a rogue shout, Pedro.
Ooh, who is it?
I might. I'm gonna do it. Marcel Sabitzer is going to be my star of the week.
Okay.
Just nothing incredible from Marcel Sabitzer, but just solid. Both games, like in the midfield against Juventus, we conceded 4 goals. I'm gonna talk in the next section about a big reason why. But Marcel Sabitzer was just typically in the right position across both of these matches. Like, if you look at the last 2 goals from Juventus, they were scored off the left. Marcel Sabitzer was on the right. And, like, generally, even before that, like, I'll talk about the specific situations in a bit. In this match, Marcel Sabitzer had a team high 6 tackles and interceptions. In terms of progressing the ball, he was fairly solid as well, with 9, matching Nico Schlotterbeck for second team high, and the most out of any non-center back in the match. And he's just been in the right position at the right time, recently, and this is the best we've seen him play. It's only been 2 games for Borussia Dortmund, and like they draw against Juventus was not a great team performance, but this was much better from what we've seen of him. Do I think he can play 2-3 matches a week for the entire season? Absolutely not. But we don't have another match until next weekend, and hopefully he's able to fully recover by then and put in another performance at this level. And I'd love to sit here in 2 to 3 months and be like, I've been shocked, I've been surprised, and this is a different Marcel Sabitzer. And I didn't know he was capable of this. We'll see if I get there. I'm not there yet, but Marcel Sabitzer hasn't really put a foot wrong in the last couple of weeks. 7 shot creating actions just show you how important he was to the build-up in this game. I believe that's also a team high. So yeah, Marcel Sabitzer just doing everything right in this match.
Yeah, I think it's a interesting show because I had a completely different perspective of Sabitzer in the past week. Of course, as I said, I didn't watch the match against Juventus, so I'm not gonna talk too much about that. But against Wolfsburg, the same criticism I had for Dortmund in regards to our in possession game, I really struggle to see what Sabitzer offers us in that regard. I think, like off possession, I think as you said, I think he was good. He was well positioned. He like stole the ball, who eventually became Karim Adeyemi's solely lonely goal for this one. But at the same time, in possession, I struggle a little bit to see what he offers. At the same time, Imecha has been a little bit shaky with his passing abilities, and we all know that. I think it's a big defect in his game. But at the same time, I can see what he plays because he has long strides. He's a really good ball carrier. Has nice physicality. But at the same time, Sabitzer like doesn't like clock like tick for me in terms of in possession game. But I mean, it's a fair shot. I think that's your perspective. I think that's good that we have different perspectives of what I've seen from Borussia Dortmund. But yeah, that's an interesting shot. Very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just wanted to give him a little bit of credit. Like, a lot of the shots that he has those shot creating actions for are not necessarily big chances, but he kept the ball ticking over. And like you said, like, he wins the ball back. He plays Julian Ryerson. Julian Ryerson gives the ball to Adeyemi. He scores. Like, he's finding players in and around the box, and like in a game where our creativity was lacking, like you almost need that because a lot of the shots we did have, like we did accrue over 1 xg, and that's in large part because Sabitzer was able to get the ball to the dangerous attacking players, not necessarily in great spots, but in and around the area, and from there those players can either play the ball in behind, they can combine. They weren't doing that in this game. They were just ripping from distance, and it worked out. But like he could be better in the final third as a passer. I'm not going to disagree with you there, but he's helping get the ball forward. At times, it is a lot easier to do that for Borussia Dortmund against Wolfsburg than it is to do it in a Champions League game. That's a little bit different. In the Champions League game, I didn't really notice anything positive about his passing necessarily because like Juventus have no idea how to press, but I did notice him defensively, and that's where we're going to get to our dud of the week because I got to talk about a guy. I believe he did score in the midweek, and it's Felix Nemecha, and what he does without the ball just is in total disregard of any possibility of Borussia Dortmund losing the ball. So there's the first shot where Kobel ends up making the save, but it's Kefren Turin. He's running in inside. Sabitzer like shows some pressure, is supposed to be shepherding him into his midfield partner. Mecha comes over incredibly late, but he's able to get a touch on the ball. It deflects the shot, and Gregor Kobel saves. But before that, you look at where Nemecha is. He's sagging off. He's going for the wrong side of the pitch, and is able to. And that sagging off allows the shot to go away. And then there's a later goal where Yildiz gets the ball. There's like a little bit of a scrap in the middle of the pitch. Sabitzer's fighting for, I forget who it was, but someone's fighting for the ball. I think Sabitzer in the middle of the park. And Nemecha is marking Yildiz. We lose the ball. Nemecha pulls away from Yildiz. Yildiz gets the ball, runs 30 yards up the pitch uncontested, because Nemecha just disregards any concept of what a rest defense is. And then, like, later in the match, I don't remember if he was playing or not, but against Wolfsburg, I feel like the in possession work of Nemecha is just, it's not there. Like, he occasionally, once per game, will play like a decent pass, but then for the rest of it, I'm left wondering how he's really contributing, and I don't know. The progressive passes are lower than Sabitzer. The pass completion percentage is lower than Sabitzer. The shot creating actions are lower than Sabitzer. And these guys are playing the same exact role. He's just playing a worse version of it. 20 less touches in only 13 less minutes. Like, this guy's younger. He had less tackles and interceptions. Like, he's just doing less of everything. And these little things, like, that are very hard to notice. And you have to, like, I myself had to go back. I was like, how did Yildiz end up in so much space? And it was because Nemecha is not tracking the right way. And that's how you concede goals, because he's just giving up free yards. He's letting them progress the ball for free because he decided he wanted to show for the ball when it was very much in contest. And, like, you are a 6'3", 180-pound guy going up against the 22-year-old Yildiz, however old he is, but he's given up 20, 30 pounds to Nemecha. Like, you should be able to receive the ball with Yildiz on you if you're Felix Nemecha. And instead, he's just shirking that defensive responsibility, and that leads to that goal, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I feel like it's justified.
No, that's a fair shout. And I think my dud, it's kind of related to yours. And even when you were talking, I was searching here on my computer that goal from Yildiz. Of course, you want to give credit to Yildiz, who, as I said before in this podcast, is an amazing player. And I think he's going to be one of the best wingers on the planet. He's already one of the best, I think. But in the next few years, he's going to explode. But yeah, like I started tracking of Felix Nemecha, and he was just like keeping like close to Kefren Turan, who was close to Ben Sebaini, but it was basically like Kefren against like Ben Sebaini, Anton, and Nemecha. So like there's three guys for one dude. So Nemecha really didn't need to be there. He could have like positioned himself better within his line of play, and he was so off. Yeah, as you said, I completely agree. Of course, the match is not my dud, but that's a great shout, because even though it's really brave from someone just to, like, from a guy who scores a wonder of goal, which we need to say he scored a great goal. Like, he's still lacking in a lot of regards, as I said before, with the passes and off possession. He's not the best, even though he has a great physical profile, and I think he's a great ball carrier for this team. But yeah, some of the aspects of his game are lacking so much that like he just needs to find more consistency with his overall play. But my dud is kind of related to yours because, like, at the same time we are talking about all those.
Pedro, I have to fact check myself.
Sure.
I have to fact check myself. Yildiz, I believe, played the assist. I have the clip on my phone. I can't show it because of copyright issues, but he essentially loses Yildiz. So he's at the halfway line. There's a loose ball, and he is on Yildiz, and then he tries to show to the middle of the pitch, and Juventus play it out through Yildiz. He runs forward and plays a through ball, and I believe it's Vlahovic who gets like the 1v1 and scores.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were talking about his goal, but still, I think the point value is on his staying out of line for the Yildiz goal or the second one for Juventus. But for me, I
Yeah.
think that is kind of related because with all this criticism on Mecha and the uncertainty on the midfield, like we're like even though we have some good stuff from Mecha, like he's lacking in some aspects, and as I had some criticism on Sabitzer as well, he's lacking in some other aspects in possession. Like with overall, those two guys are still the choices from Niko Kovac, and keeps me thinking what Joe Bellingham is doing like on the training sessions, not to at least have a shot at the team in the past few weeks, especially after like the whole episode with his father and the whole like media thing surrounding that. So in that sense, I think Joe has become a little bit of a dud for me because just because of the overall context and not being able to show his value to start amid some like uncertainties in the midfield. I still think he is gonna do good for Borussia Dortmund, and I expect him to have more chances in the next few weeks with just developing on training sessions, like getting used to the style of play, the country, and everything. But for now, just big question mark for me what he's doing not to have a shot in the midfield, especially because I think he got in fourth in Matcha. So I think in my head what Kovac thinks is that Matcha is the starter and Job is his immediate like reserve substitute. So I mean, like you're not doing enough to be started ahead of Matcha, even though we are criticizing him like week in and week out, and like with so much uncertainties with his game bugs me a little bit. So for that context, I'm gonna say Job's a little bit of a dud, but I'm sure he's gonna bounce back and hopefully he can provide some more options in the midfield because apparently, from what it seems in the past few weeks in Matcha and Sabitzer are a little bit untouchable for Kovac, even though I'm still having question marks regarding that midfield.
Yeah, Job has looked a little poor on the ball when he's played. But I don't know. I'm seeing his birthday is tomorrow, so it's hard for me to slag him off too much. He's turning 20 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Job. This is your welcome to the team moment. You can't get a dud of the week if we don't believe you're a part of the team. So you have to have expectations from someone, whether it's the fans, the board, or the manager, in order to get a dud of the week. Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm
welcome to the
saying
team,
this.
bud.
Yeah, but
Uh,
that's true. And his price tag, I mean, his price tag says everything. Even though it's not his fault, his price tag is like high for Borussia Dortmund standards. We had expectations with him, even though he's so young, and that sucks. But that's how football work works. And I'm criticizing him now because I believe in him, and hopefully he can get better, as I said. But yeah, it is what it is. Even though I think Chuck
so,
is also an interesting shout because I don't think he played well against Wolfsburg, and we even talked about that
huh.
in the group
He
chat.
he get a bigger chat from me,
Yeah,
bigger than
I,
Job.
I thought you were gonna choose him. Actually, I was surprised you picked the other guy in matchup.
Uh no, because the like for Chuck Womeka, this is who he is. This is exactly what I thought he is. He's not capable. Like you can disagree with me. He's not capable of performing as a starter. You want to know why? It's not because of the injuries, because he made a lot of appearances, but he averaged 23 minutes per appearance last year. This year, he's right around 25 across his first two appearances, whatever it is. And it's because he's not even showing as a super sub against tired legs. He's not able to show anything. He looks like he just can't run. He's playing in attack. Why is he playing in attack? He can't run. Julian Brandt at 30 years old is getting in behind every time he comes off the bench because it is so much easier when you are coming off the bench to get in behind to get big chances. And we've seen Julian Brandt get in behind a couple times. In this match, I believe he made a mess of it against Wolfsburg, but he's gotten in behind twice in the two matches he's come off the bench. He's gotten a 1v1 with the goalie that he's missed, and he kind of like blew the chance in this one. But at the end of the day, he's getting opportunities. He's creating danger. And Wolfsburg, he also like got the ball into the corner, I believe, in one instance. So he's doing things. He's finding production. Chukwuemeka is taking guys on. He's beating them, but he's not able to run fast enough with the ball to like make anything of it. And then his passing decisions are just slowing down the game. And it's very disappointing to watch because he has that elite ability to take players on. I don't know if he can do it from the start of the match because it's not something we've seen because he's not proven to the coaches, not to me, to the coaches of Borussia Dortmund who watch him in training every day that he's capable of starting a match. And, Joe Bellingham, you're a part of the team. We have expectations for you. You can get a dud of the week. Chukwuemeka, I had expectations of you last year. You can get a dud of the week when you can prove you're better than this to me, and then you perform worse. Then you can get a dud of the week. Or if you do something catastrophic that really enrages me. But right now you're proving to me you're who I thought you were. And that's all I have to say. We have real topics to get through. Real serious topics. The management of Borussia Dortmund is confident of a contract extension for Nico Schlotterbeck per Funky Sports. I'm wearing the Nico Schlotterbeck jersey today. The number 4 of the 23-24, I believe. Pedro, how excited are you from 1 to 10? Nico Schlotterbeck contract extension impending.
Man, I'm off scale 1,000. I'm not sure how reliable Funk Sport even is. I never thought they were, but I mean, hopefully they are right. It would be an amazing thing for Borussia Dortmund future to have their best player sign a long-term contract. And even you said you have the Nico Schlotterbeck jersey, but with me, I'm always skeptical to buy a jersey and to put a player's number on it. Because you never know what can happen in football, right? He can leave to arrive or something like that, and then you get disappointed, and then you waste your money for nothing. That happened to me a few times. I only would save that for guys like Marco Reus, who knows loyal and Borussia Dortmund 100%. For Spurs, Sonny, that's totally a guy I admire and buy a jersey with his name on it, a number. But yeah, I think Nico Schlotterbeck can be that guy for Borussia Dortmund. And if he signs a contract extension, I mean, I think I'll have to buy that jersey. So hopefully that's true. And I'm very excited if that actually happens.
Yeah, I think even if Funky Sport isn't necessarily the most reliable source, we have heard these rumblings for a decent amount of time now from various sources. And even if it's just Bill, just Funky Sport, once you hear it a million times, then all of a sudden it's there's a little more credence there. So when this happens, I'll be very enthused. I'll put it that way. And then our next quick story before we go into the preview of next week's match or this week's match, we have the Ballon d'Or today, and former Borussia Dortmund man Ousmane Dembele won the Ballon d'Or, and he did thank all his former clubs, including the best club he's ever played for, Borussia Dortmund. What are your thoughts on this?
Man, overall, in terms of decision, I mean, if you see the list, Ballon d'Or is an absolute joke. Harry Kane just being solo on the list compared to what he deserved, the best striker on the planet, for me is just crazy. Even Pedri being out of top 10, for me, that's crazy as well. But yeah, I think overall, the first position, I think they got it right.
Jokeres's agent
Gyökeres getting the best striker.
He got put above Guirassy. I mean, let's get a grip, people.
Yeah, no, the overall price is just a joke. I'm just happy for Dembele, because even though he had some mishaps with Borussia Dortmund, and even Barcelona in the past in terms of behavior and injuries as well, apparently he found his spot in PSG, and he was, I think, arguably one of the best players during the season. I think the other guys I would shout probably Vitinha, love his performances overall this season, and I think a big reason of why this system works so well for PSG and with Luis Enrique. Another guy, Rafinha from Barcelona as well. The guy I love, of course, I'm Brazilian and biased, but I loved him throughout the season. But I think it's a fair award for Ousmane Dembele. And yeah, glad to see him mentioning Borussia Dortmund because the way he left was a little bit, not the best shown of character. But it's good that he grown as a person, he grown as a player, and he I think the overall story is overcoming so many mishaps of his own and overall of his performances and how he developed and just going from that to the best player on the planet this past season. I think it's worth the shout and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, and the most important takeaway for this as a Borussia Dortmund fan is there's a lot of you out there listening to this right now that are like, or have said in recent months, over the summer potentially, oh, Borussia Dortmund, like, they don't have the same pull because everyone thinks the club is such a mess. Da 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 da. No, like, the Ballon d'Or winner just thanked Borussia Dortmund for his development. And do you know all these, like, 20-year-old football players that are going to hear that and have that ambition? Like, they care so much more about that and how much wages they're going to make more than, like, if Hans-Joachim Watzke is good at scouting. Like, let's be real. That's what matters in terms of recruiting players. And, like, that is a big win for Borussia Dortmund, because even when we lose, we win. And that's like, the positive you can take away from this. As much as I am, like, I'm half joking in a certain way, but not about, like, the actual in practice reality that, like, that actually does matter for your recruitment of U23 players. But let's move on because we do have a match preview to get through, and we've already been going for too long. So Mainz have beaten Augsburg and drawn to Wolfsburg, but they have also lost to Köln and Leipzig. Any key players you're looking forward to watching against Mainz?
Yeah, I'm thinking here. I think it's gonna be like tough. I think we have been had our struggles against Mainz in this past few years. Of course, there's always that trauma that I think is always gonna stick with us. But yeah, like I'm curious how they're gonna like Dortmund's gonna do with the midfield with Sano like playing good off possession in that midfield for Mainz. Also Amiri, who's
Core is
also been doing
suspended,
decent.
though.
Yeah.
Dominic Core is suspended.
Who? Sorry, who's suspended?
Dominic Core has started every game for them this season.
Ah, yeah, of
He
course.
even
I just
scored in the
figured.
last match, but he is suspended. So it'll be a different midfield for them.
Yeah, so I think in that sense, I think those are the two other guys I would highlight. But yeah, I think Dortmund can like do a good role in this match. I think it's going to be tough playing away from home, and especially if they're confident from by beating Augsburg away as well 4-1. But yeah, I think if I could give some prediction right now, I think I would go with a 3-1 win for Borussia Dortmund. I'm gonna be optimist.
3-1. Is this home or away? That's going to be the question for me. I'm going to go for the win, but I'm going to go for just a 2-1 win. It's going to be another less interesting game, similar to this past weekend, but I think we are going to manage to pull it out. So looking forward to that. But before we head out, we have your fantasy Bundesliga update. So in the Dortmund Dispatch League, atop the leaderboard is Christ Theme, followed by Supercalifragilistic, I will assume Expialidocious Hayabifabi. And then we have in third Hamidi 1909, Dylan's Dortmund Dynasty in fourth, and Pints of Bayer in fifth. And I've said I'm going to start moving up. I think this past match week I was in the top 20, but I've moved up into 45th spot. I was 16th on the match day. So yeah, I'm moving in the right direction. I believe I am still number one of the Dortmund Dispatch hosts. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. And have a good one.